So in yesterday's used parts vlog hunt, I managed to pick up a HD 6950 for around about $30 US. However, it had one problem, and that is it only had 1GB of VRAM on board. And I know you guys are wondering, is this enough for today's titles at 1080p? Well, let's find out. Welcome back to Tech Yes City. This is Brian coming to you guys today with that video that you may or may not have wanted to see. I don't know, I'm not too sure, but this is the HD 6950, which was a graphics card that was released by AMD in 2010 in the month of December. The 1GB variant came in with an MSRP of $259 US, and the 2GB variant came in with an MSRP of $299. The card itself features 1408 stream processors, 88 texture mapping units, and also 32 rasterization output units, and is built on a 40nm fabrication process, which was later succeeded by the infamous GCN architecture, which was fabricated on 28nm. Though, with that aside, how does this graphics card perform in 2017? Well, there's good news and bad news, and we'll get off with the good news first, and that is if you're a CSGO player or a Dota 2 player, then this graphics card did ample fine at 1080p, 100% resolution scale on low settings. Dota 2 was getting up near 200 FPS, and CSGO was flying past 200 FPS. So if all you're after is a graphics card to play games competitively in either Dota 2 or CSGO, then the HD 6950 for around about $30 USD is actually a pretty good buy. However, as I started moving through the list of games, I found that Overwatch, the frame rates were starting to get lower and lower. 1080p low settings with 100% resolution scale, which looked okay, was getting around 60 to 90 FPS. However, when we moved into the infamous PuBG, this is where things got really nasty. 1080p, I just could not play this game at all at very low settings. It was the worst experience I've had in PuBG yet. Scoring really low frame rates, but not only that, getting some of the most ugliest stuttering I've seen in this game to date. So 1080p on very low settings on the 6950 in Players Unknown Battlegrounds was a complete failure. Though, what about dropping it down to 720p? And this is where I had high hopes. I mean, coming into the game, 720p, very low settings, I was flying in and the frame rates were pretty smooth. I thought I could get away with a playable experience. But it wasn't until I landed that things got really bad yet again, and it was just a really terrible experience. You couldn't enjoy this game on this graphics card, unfortunately. So 3 out of 4 games were okay so far for the 6950. However, I decided to test one more game, and this was Mass Effect Andromeda, which was released this year, and this game hard locked the graphics card to 720p. I was quite surprised. And when I dropped the settings down to very low, I was actually surprised. This graphics card could play this game on 720p low settings with a pretty desirable experience from 60 FPS all the way up to 90 FPS constantly. So there you have it. 1GB of VRAM is kind of okay in 2017, but it really depends on the games and of course the settings. If you are just a competitive player that wants to get into Overwatch, CSGO, or Dota 2 on a budget, then something like this for cheap can get you very far. However, if you want to play PuBG competitively, then I'd recommend at least getting a graphics card with 2GB of VRAM on board. In the case of the 660 Ti, which I picked up for around about $45 US, that did a phenomenal job of playing PuBG 1080p settings very low with good frame rates. So if you want to step up your game for PuBG, then the minimum recommendation would be something like a 660 Ti or a HD 7870. And another thing to remember, if you're getting an old card like this, you also may have to change over the thermal paste. This card here, when I first installed it, the temperatures were all over the place. They were ridiculously high for idle temperatures too, which is a good indication that the cooler is not making proper contact with the GPU. So I set about taking the cooler off and taking all the thermal paste off, which was really crusty. It actually took me a good 5 minutes to replace the thermal paste. And of course, after that, we were back up and running with really good temperatures. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then be sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comment section below, would you bother with something like a 6950? Love reading your comments as always, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye. So this card was designed in 2010 and it's got 4 display ports, 2 DVI ports, and no HDMI port, which is really bizarre.